Welcome to Practical Business Technology, where we keep you in the know about technology's impact on business. Today's show is sponsored by the Maricopa County Bar Association, and our host is Dave Kinsey, author and owner of Total Networks. Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Dave.
And today we're wrapping up our 4-part series on ransomware. So the grand finale is, what can we do as a society to stop the bad actors? Is there anything we can do?
Well, I think there's quite a bit that we could do. Not very optimistic that we will do anything, predominantly because the creators of cryptocurrency and then the proponents of it were very thorough in, the thinking through the ways to try to get past all the impediments to adoption. I mean, this is, it's literally an attack on every government on earth. I mean, literally, it's to try to create anarchy, and that's where you have the ransomware. Basically the whole premise behind cryptocurrency is that it's untraceable, and so that law enforcement is impractical, because how do you prosecute crimes when you have untraceable transactions? But that's gotten kind of lost in all the shuffle. I mean, everyone sort of kind of knows it, but people don't seem to care anymore. There were laws that used to care about money laundering and whatnot, but they're kind of irrelevant. With cryptocurrency, kind of made that irrelevant. And there were big giveaways of cryptocurrency back in the day to places like MIT and other universities.
So is your thought, Dave, that if there was no cryptocurrency, there would be no ransomware? I mean, wouldn't the bad actors just find some other way?
How do they get paid? So you have a bad actor act badly, encrypt somebody's data, and hold them for ransom and demand payment. So what do you, without untraceable money, untraceable transactions, or nearly, practically untraceable, nothing's perfect. How do you implement ransomware? You say, drop off the bag of money at this spot and nobody follow you, and like the stuff you'd see in TV in the days before cryptocurrency. When you
it was cash.
Yeah, big bag of cash. Well, big bags of cash, they're not very practical to implement when you're trying to do these electronic things of holding stuff for hostage. I mean, yeah, you could say, drop off this money at such and such a place, make sure nobody follows you, but it's hard. How do you implement ransomware without cryptocurrency? But if you don't have cryptocurrency, you don't have ransomware. It just logically follows. But the fact of the matter is, we've gotten to a point where the advocates of cryptocurrency have been very effective introducing it into society. Case in point, the man who's in charge of the SEC. This is the guy who's in charge of all the investments on Wall Street and all that. He's a cryptocurrency and blockchain guy. He's a guy from MIT, which once again was one of the main places that lots and lots of Bitcoin were given away to MIT years ago. Given away to every undergrad, and just big giveaways of this cryptocurrency. Gary Gensler, he was teaching classes on blockchain and cryptocurrency at MIT, and now he's a big advocate for it, and he's in charge of it right now, and he's in charge of regulation. In theory, one of the main people in charge of regulation.
Well, I mean, if you go back to our cash analysis, there's lots of good ways to use cash, and
sure.
That it doesn't mean that every time I use cash, I'm doing something malicious.
Well, and the same thing could be said of Bitcoin. In theory, you don't have to be a criminal to use Bitcoin, and certainly a lot of people are putting money in it, and the price of Bitcoin is manipulated by...
So I guess I'm trying to understand what you're getting at as far as what we could do.
Well, what we could do is basically make cryptocurrency exchanges illegal. If you made cryptocurrency exchanges illegal, which
I think there's a country that now it's their official.
El Salvador.
El Salvador, it's their official currency.
Yeah, because they had a hyperinflationary.
So I think it's probably
currency.
Unrealistic to say that it would completely go away.
Well, I would say, okay, yeah, if you made cryptocurrency exchanges and Bitcoin illegal in the United States using existing anti-money laundering laws, which could have shut down cryptocurrency exchanges in its infancy. Okay, there's anti-money laundering laws, basically money transmission laws, that had they been interpreted in a reasonable fashion, I believe, when evaluating cryptocurrency exchanges, should never have allowed cryptocurrency exchanges to exist. But they have now existed for some time, and so I think you'd have a hard time saying use the existing law, the existing anti-money laundering law, money transmission laws to make cryptocurrency exchanges legal. You'd probably need to have a new law specifically saying, it is illegal. Making payments to criminals becomes difficult to impossible. So now you're going to have to go to foreign countries or whatnot, so it makes it difficult for criminals to get paid. They have less incentive. If every major country made exchanges illegal for cryptocurrency, it would pretty much remove the incentive. But yeah, I'm not holding my breath on it happening. So
short of that, what else can we do?
Not a lot. So pretty much we should expect ever increasing digital crime because of the fact that there's untraceable money. It's just, we can certainly do things to try to, I don't know. As different governments could, make sure they're working together. Russia seems to be giving safe harbor to ransomware criminals. In theory, some other countries as well. It's hard to really know, what's going on in all this, because people try to make attribution to who did this, right?
Well, I guess I wonder, it seemed like there used to be more serial killers back before we had some of the technology that we do today to be able to catch them. Maybe
before the FBI made all their, psychological divisions of trying to figure out.
Maybe there is a way to advance our technology to trace some of this.
Well, I'd say, there are absolutely things we can do to improve defenses, and improve, we've talked about that in earlier, in part 2 or 3. I think it was the last session, part 3, where we talked in detail about defenses and how, there's different ways to mitigate it. But from a public policy, I don't know that that's a public policy thing. That's just a technology, trying to figure out ways to mitigate it. If we really wanted to stop ransomware, the way to stop it is to stop the money. To get rid of the reward system. That
or
would be
to stop paying the ransom.
Yeah, I guess you could make it illegal to pay the ransom. That's been discussed, is, making it illegal to pay a ransom. Right? You're not supposed to negotiate with terrorists. That's the famous line, right? No, don't negotiate with terrorists. And we are. We absolutely are. We're making lots of payments to these cyber terrorists where it's just become part of, it's acceptable in society. It's accepted by de facto. If we're doing it, it's accepted, and we're doing it. So if I was in charge of the world, right, I would, I don't think I'd let cryptocurrency be a thing. I understand that there's a lot of governments out there that are really problematic. And, so the whole idea of having a way where you can have financial transactions that exist outside of that government control may be a good thing. This could be some really horrible governments out there on Earth. And, I don't consider the United States in that category. And so I think that law enforcement should exist, or should be able to enforce laws, financial laws. But it becomes impractical to do.
Okay, well, is there anything else you want to share?
Yeah, no, this is kind of a downer here, right? In that I just don't see a way to stop this.
Well, so I think the takeaway is go back to the episode that we did last month on things you can do, and actually we've put together a checklist. So if anyone wants a copy of that, feel free to reach out.
There are all things we can do to stop it, and just in terms of public policy. I don't know what any kind of laws. In theory, could they ramp up penalties for cryptocurrency actors that are largely overseas? I don't know. How would you even, with extradition policies between countries where they can, actually extradite cyber criminals? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there are all sorts of things we can do to stop it, but as a society, if we could figure out how to make cryptocurrency exchanges illegal, and
or figure out how to catch the bad guys.
Or figure out how to catch the bad guys. Those would be the things. Now, so and it's hard to do when you have virtually untraceable financial transactions. So so maybe if we figure it out and get together as a society and figure out some way to subvert an untraceable technology, or a very difficult to trace technology. The technology was entirely designed to be untraceable. That's the whole point of existence. It was designed specifically to implement anarchy and create a society outside of governments, outside of law enforcement. So you'd have to basically undo that. It wouldn't be cryptocurrency anymore. So basically, maybe we have a world with some of the characteristics of cryptocurrency. Some, the digital transactions, having like a one world currency, but maybe making it so that it's not all about being untraceable. And maybe have that supplant something like a Bitcoin and all the other cryptocurrencies out there that are built on anonymity and untraceability. Maybe that's a way as a society forward.
All right, well, something to think about.
Yep.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks.